Today is March 4th, and this is day 20 of the 100-day project. And every 10 days, they do a little let's check in and see how things are going. And today's quote is, "Don't wait for permission to do something creative." And this is by Ava DuVernay, a filmmaker. And it's a good time now, after 20 days, to stop and ask yourself what's working, what's not working, and what are you learning so far? And then there was a little bit about this quote, because waiting for permission can look like many different things, like waiting to have the right tools, waiting to have the right skills, waiting to have enough time or enough space or enough money. Can you give yourself permission without waiting for the conditions to be right or the validation of others? It says keep going. So I went back and started, so we have to start with number 11. And that was this beautiful sunset sky. I love how the sky came out on that. And also then it was the mud on the road was number 12. These were from pictures I'd taken out in front of the house. The sky, the trees, and the muddy road are all right out in front of my house. And again, using the quotes from Susan Fenimore Cooper. And then this little violet was blooming out by my sidewalk, kind of a protected area between the large stones in the sidewalk. And I felt on this one like I got a little too dark with the greens, and I should have left more space or more light to go through the plant. But that's okay because I'm learning. And when I criticize myself, I'm not critical like, oh, that's really bad. You know, you don't know how to paint, you don't know how to draw. When I criticize myself, I do it with an eye to what would I change if I did it over again. So if I painted this over again, I would leave more light between the leaves. And I would draw that one over again because it didn't come out quite the way I wanted it to. And that little bud down there is kind of lost in the dark greens, but that's okay. I'll probably go out and paint this violet again. I do like how I did, this is day number 14, just sort of playing with an icy effect. I used cool colors and shimmery paint, and then I just sketched in some cracks. And I thought that kind of made a nice background for the plant. I really love how the gourd came out nice and loose. Played with the ink pen on top. And I have a very long quote about gourds on the background there from Susan Fenimore Cooper. That was day number 15. And then for 16, I love the way this leaf came out. And you know, these lilies have long stems because they're rooted at the bottom of the pond. And then the stem comes up through the water and the flowers at the top. But I wish I had made this flower larger. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I would have liked a nice large lily. I didn't have to make the stem. I could have just put a large lily down here in the corner. And this is a lotus, supposed to be a lotus blossom. And the picture for this day was a picture of my front door, which has a lotus blossom. And this gourd that I sketched, that I have a picture at the beginning of the video, was a gourd that I grew on my farm in Pennsylvania. And I dried it, and I'll probably make a birdhouse out of it. Again, these are two pictures that I took. This one was a pile of logs out in the yard. And I like the watercolor on this, but I'm not sure I like the sketching on the top. I mean, it's okay. And then on this one, and this was number 18, I felt I got too tight with the sketching on top of the watercolors, and I got a little too dark down here. And I feel like if I did this over again, I would do it from a little bit of a different angle, because it was kind of hard painting all these little ring parts, and I would not put so much black on it. So maybe another day I will paint logs, another day I will paint shells, and another day I'll paint flowers, but that's okay. So I felt like this was too dark and too tight, so I wanted to loosen up. So on day 19, I just did an egg, and basically I traced the shape of the egg, and I just played very loosely and lightly with the watercolors. And it's got just the smallest hint of blues and greens, tans, and a little brown down here for the shading. And then for today, it was a quote about the pink ribbon. And it says, at an early hour on pleasant Saturday, summer or winter, in fact, it is sort of a market day, a while since we found a farmer's wife looking at a piece of pink ribbon. So they were out shopping, market day on a Saturday, and they went into the dry goods store, and a woman was picking out a pink ribbon. It is a challenge for me to draw with a paintbrush because there is no eraser on the back end of a paintbrush, right? So I just kind of swirled the pink paint around, made a few parts darker, and then I tried to very loosely with the black pen and not even try to stay on the lines, add some detail to the ribbon. And I like the way this came out. I like the looseness of the watercolor. I like this effect over here. So this is what I will try to work on. I have a tendency just to get real tight and controlled, and with watercolor you really need to just play very loosely, lots of water, and drop in the color. So that is my assessment at day 20. I am trying to loosen up. I don't want to be so tight and controlled and dark. I want to loosen up and be bright. So thanks for coming along for this second section of the 100-day project, days 11 to 20. And tomorrow we'll get started on day 21, and that'll be 3 weeks. 3 weeks of images. I try to keep each day simple because if you make it too complicated, and that goes back to this, if you make the process too complicated, then you have to wait to have enough time or enough space or enough tools. So trying to keep it simple with pictures that I have, quotes from my book, and doing a partial page and not even a whole page. So thanks for coming along with me on this very colorful watercolor journey. Bye-bye now.